Oh, jeez, we were in a firefight almost every freaking day. Paul Senick, Bear Senick. Stud gave that to me the first time I come into the first platoon, the first squad, and Stud was there, and then he says, "Here's Teddy Bear." You know why Teddy Bear? He says because I can hug you. He says you're so cuddly. He's like, and I says, cut out the Teddy and just call me Bear. And eventually they all did call me Bear. I'm from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, born and raised. Well, first I worked for my brothers for Senick Incorporated. They had a trucking and excavating business and an oil delivery business and coal delivery. And my dad started the business. Okay, believe it or not, there's 15 kids in my family, 7 boys and 8 sisters. And when I came along, a lot of the sisters were all married and brothers were gone and married. And but the house was full. And my mom used to make supper every night. Every night she had a supper for us. And Sunday was a big supper. She invited everybody from the family there. And we had a big supper. He started with a grocery store and a gas station. And it expanded. He was justice of the peace. And he married a lot of people. He was a well-known man in the township. And started with coal. We did coal business. Used to go up the mines with him to get coal in a dump truck and drive it home. Well, he drove it home. I ride along, and we delivered it from the stockyard, put it in the stockyard, and delivered it. Delivered as much as a half a ton to 5 ton. And we filled up coal bags, 10 bags of coal, 100-pound bags, threw them on the back of a steak body, and delivered them to people who, that's all they could afford was half a ton. And we delivered it right up to their house, dumped it in their windows for the garage, for the cellar where their coal burner was. Back in those days, that's all they had was coal. And it blossomed to oil. And he had oil trucks. And I got older, I delivered the oil in the oil trucks, whatever. They sold it out. My brothers sold it out. And my kid took it over, but he passed away in a motorcycle accident, and then they sold everything. Well, I was glad to be drafted. I wanted to go to Vietnam, do my duties for the country, you know. 2 of my brothers were in Vietnam when I got drafted. Well, the one was wounded over there bad, and he was in Walter Reed Hospital, George. And Tommy was in Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base in Saigon. He was a clerk there, but George carried a machine gun, and He got in a battle there, and he got hit by 3 grenades, and he got shot through the mouth. Right through the mouth, and he was in Walter Reed Hospital trying to stay alive when I got drafted. Yeah, if he wouldn't have got hit, we would have all been in at the same time. But, well, my dad was dead, passed away early when I was about 13, I guess. And my mom was worried. I used to write her all the time, telling her I'm okay. Whatever. No, from basic, I went to Fort Polk, Louisiana, the North Fort, which they call Tigerland. You went there, you were going to Vietnam. There's no doubt about it. So, well, I could never march. I could never stay in step. And my drill sergeant used to get on me like crazy. I said, you want doing my best, and he kicked me in the ankles and stuff like that. Me and him didn't get along. Well, he did. Drill sergeant didn't get along with anybody. He was a son of a bitch. Well, there were a couple of them. They were tough. You didn't screw around with them. You got your ass kicked. I remember first time there in advanced training. He picked the biggest guy in the freaking place. He knocked him on the floor and kicked the shit out of him, just to show him who was boss. Just to show everybody else who was boss. And you treated the drill sergeant with respect. Yes, sir. No, sir. Or yes, drill sergeant. No, drill sergeant. Well, AIT was at Fort Polk, Louisiana. That's advanced infantry training. It was a cold year. It was just a cold year. Matter of fact, we had attacked a Vietnam village, a mock one, but the night before it snowed, and there was about an inch of snow on the ground. We're attacking a village in the snow, and that wouldn't happen in Vietnam. And that was tough. Fort Polk was tough. We had to go walk through a swamp at night and find our own way back to camp. They drop us off on the road. They just go on, no, no. I don't think they gave us a compass or nothing. We had to just go by how we could at night by the moon. And then we got 2 weeks off and went home and stuff. And then we had to go out to California, no, Washington. We had to get out to Washington after we went home. We flew to Hawaii, then Tokyo, I guess, and then to Nam. And then in Nam, we landed in Saigon, I guess. Or was it July? No, we landed in Saigon because we took a plane, C-130 up to Saigon, up to July. And in July, before we went anywhere, we went through a week's training of survival. Our training wasn't over. We had to go through survival training. And we had to learn to kill people with our hands. And back then we could never do it now, but back then we were rough sons of a bitches. We learned. You had to learn. because we had to learn how to survive in Nam, and in case we got lost from our company or something, you know, got lost if we got lost in the jungle or something. We had to know how to get back, and we did. We learned. Well, we were in July, and then from there, which was on the ocean, that training. From there, they took us up to July to the base camp for Alpha Company in 198, and they dropped us there. And there I got my supplies I needed, my backpack, my gun, and everything we needed. And the son of a bitch is up there. I had to stay the night there. They didn't have no, according to them, they didn't have no place where I could sleep. So I had to sleep out in the sand in the rain. So just put the poncho down, wrapped around a poncho liner, which were good. They kept you warm, and threw the poncho over me. Slept in the rain. Well, that's part of Vietnam. And then they got me on a chopper and went out to our base camp. I don't know if it was one of the hills. I went out to the company. I think it was LZ Center. Yeah. And they dropped me off, and with another guy was with me. And they told us to get in a bunker as fast as we could. Don't screw around because of the incoming mortars and the bullets and stuff. Said you might not see one right away, but get in there as fast as you can. So luckily, I ran into the command bunker center. So there was a sergeant, a captain, lieutenant in there or something, and they they told me where to go. They told me to go down to this bunker here, walk down there, and the bunkers were sandbagged, and they were pretty good. And go in that third bunker. Well, that's where I met Stud and the Dud and Sergeant Hack. Well, that was my platoon leader, Sergeant Hack, or the squad leader. So he was a pretty good guy. I was lucky. I got with a good bunch of guys, and I got what you would probably call today on the job training, and that's exactly what it was. You had to learn as you went along. There are all kinds of things they taught me. And the Dud said, don't listen to Dud. The Stud told me, don't listen to Dud. He'll get you in trouble. He's a little wacky. He does stupid stuff. He'd throw grenades out of the bunker just to throw a grenade, see how far he could throw it. He was nuts. So, but he was a machine gunner. He had the M60 machine. And he eventually gave it to me. He says, here, you take it now. So I did. I had to do what you were told, you know. I was a new boot. It was a couple months went by before I got it anyway. But I ended up with it. It's 25 pounds. And I carried 400 rounds of bullets, 7.62, 4 bandoliers. That's 100 rounds in a bandolier. One inside my pack, one outside my pack, one across my one shoulder, and the gun on the other shoulder. When I switched shoulders, I had to switch the ammo from one soldier to the other, and then with the gun, because to carry a 25-pound gun all day, that was a bitch. Yeah, our platoon was real good, and our platoon, our squad leader, says, you watch, the captain or the lieutenant always calls the first platoon in to run point. And Alan Allen was in another squad, but he always ran point, walked point. He was good. He was real good. And you learn from these older guys how to do stuff, how to walk, how to talk without making noise. It was a beautiful country from the airplane or the freaking helicopter. But man, freaking, we lived in the jungle. We lived on the jungle floor, the rice paddies and the foothills and the mountains, the jungles. I mean, we were all over. And every day we got up, ate our sea rations from World War II. Freaking stuff. You say, how the hell did you stay alive eating that shit? And how did you have enough energy? But apparently we had enough energy eating that. Because we never had nothing like a chocolate bar or something or a soda. Maybe if we went to base camp, they had some. Or a beer or nothing. You might have a beer at base camp if they had any. I heard just a little bit about Lojang. And if it wasn't for them, the North Vietnamese would have took over the Da Nang airport. And so these guys had their shit together, I'm telling you. Good bunch of guys. Everybody had like a nickname. Nobody had like Joe or something or Steve or something. Everybody, like there was the stud. Another freaking guy who was built like a brick shithouse. Little guy, but nice as hell, but he was really built. And then there was the dud, because he was did so much stupid stuff, but he was a good guy. He learned a lot from him. But no, but then there was Vinny. Everybody had a nickname. Like Vinny was from New York. New York smarts. And Sergeant Hacker, we just called him Hack. He was a good squad leader. He was a real good squad leader. Because there were mosquitoes there so bad. At night, the mosquitoes were really bad. We had bug juice we carried in our helmets. It's a little like Elmer's glue bottle, okay, big as Elmer's glue, that we carried in our helmets. And we had that, we covered our whole body that was exposed that night. Our face, our hands, we button up, made sure we had everything covered. But them freaking mosquitoes were smart. They used to bite you between the fingers where you didn't get the bug spray. If you didn't get in between your fingers, right at the base, they'd bite you there. They'd bite you on the freaking lips, mind you, and on the eyelids, they'd get you there. Talk about, Mosquitoes, Jesus. Well, that's why you had to take your pills, because you were getting it. There was no way to keep mosquitoes off all the time. During the day, they didn't bother you. You were sweating too much. And you sweated all day. It was 110 degrees there. And there you're walking through the jungles with all your gear on and your pack. And I guess your pack was about 30 pounds. And you carried a good 2 quarts of water at least every day. You didn't have water, you were out, man. It got so bad once I ran out of water. I drank water out of a freaking uh, rice paddy. I got from one dike to another where it flowed over. I said, I'll try it there because it was flowing water. So I did. I filled up a canteen, and we had iodine tablets to put in when we got water from a creek or something. But I put 2 in a freaking quart. Tastes like shit, but it kept me alive. The stuff you did. It's at LZ Center. We went down LZ Center and up Hill 352 because, they knew there were NBA up there, and we had to go up and take the hill. Well, we went up there. We were in line. I was in line like everybody else's. New boot. Well, the shit hit the fan, and the first couple guys got hit, and Lieutenant, I don't know what the frick his name was. I forget. Why was a new boot? I didn't know his name. I think it was Mancani or something like that. He got his leg blown off, just below the knee. His leg was shot off. His bone was sticking out about 3 inches down, and the skin around him was just flapping in the wind. And the guy had about a dozen bullet holes in him. A dozen, mind. And he had, like a house fly, but they were about 1.5 inches big. They were big motherfuckers. They, in Nam, that shit, it was terrible. They were all over him. And a guy in front of me brought him back, handed him to me. I walked him down the line about 20, 30 feet, gave him to another guy. And he took the same thing, walked the 20, 30 feet, gave him to the next guy in line. Till we got him safe in an area where we could get a chopper and to chopper him out. Now the guy was dead. Freaking, he had no choice. No saving him. He had to bleed out all over because he was filled with bullet holes and his legs shot off. He stopped bleeding though. It wasn't blood anymore. Just didn't move. But you carried him back. You carried him in your arms. You wouldn't let him touch the ground. You carried him in your arms. You just felt sorry for the guy. You weren't going to drag him around or do nothing. You picked him up, you carried him in your arms. You didn't throw him over your shoulder like a fireman or something like that. You just carried him. He was a young guy. And then we retreated. We pulled back and regrouped. Went back to LZ Center. Straighten out. I guess then they bombed LZ Center that night or the following night. Not the LZ Center. We bombed Hill 352. We sent everything in there. We said there were chirp flares dropped from planes and freaking, I guess, parachutes. Say, how the hell they drop it? A flare in a parachute. You think the freaking thing would burn up. But they didn't. Now, they dropped so many of these that it turned the valley, the whole valley and the hills, into daylight. And it was like daylight. You could see anything you wanted to see. And they shot mortar rounds and RPGs out off these off 352. No. We shot them off of LZ Center, and they had the bouncing Bettys. The artillery shot them, and what they would do, they would land, explode, then they go another 20 feet or I don't know, 50 feet, and they blow up again, and vice versa, another 20, 30 feet, and blow up 3 times. They would blow. And you call them bouncing Bettys or something, or whatever. And so we shook the shit out of 352 before we went back up. And the next day we went back up. Now it was like, I guess, a month later or something. I don't know. I don't know. Time is, just goes. It's hard to keep track of time when every day is the same. Every day is the same. Well, anyway, we went back up with Sergeant McCleary. He was an E6. Freaking guy looked like Charles Bronson, rough as hell in the face. And he was one hell of a rough son of a bitch. And he went up and he led 11 of us were behind him. Sergeant Cleary was there. Allen was next. He was right with Sergeant Cleary. And then the rest of us guys. And I don't know how, but going up that mountain, a freaking grenade landed about 10 feet from me, and the pin was off. It was one of our grenades. I said, oh shit, I'm dead. And I start running away from it. I says, you can't outrun a grenade. And I saw this little berm about that high. And I jumped over it and laid down as flat as I could. And the freaking grenade went off. And I said, holy shit, I kissed my ass goodbye, but luckily I didn't get hit. I don't know how. I got up. No, was not hit. So I got up and moved up behind Allen, up with the rest of the guys. And we kept going up the freaking hill. McCleary took down bunker after bunker. Allen and him. And The bunkers weren't in a row, and they weren't horseshoed, but they were spotted at different places. And had to go up this to that to either one and to take the next one out. And McCleary did that. Allen was right with him. Took them all out. I don't remember him jumping on top of the bunker, but I remember him shoving his gun in the bunker and shooting it clearing the whole freaking bunker. Put a bullet everywhere in that bunker. So nobody was alive or lived. If he had a grenade, he threw that in first. McCleary was first. Allen was just a foot behind him or something. And they found out where the bunker is by watching where the bullets, the flashes were coming out of the ground. These were camouflage bunkers. You could walk right past them and you couldn't tell they were a bunker. And they found them, though. They found them. And they walked right up to them, shooting bullets right into them. And if you're the NVA, you're in a bunker, you ain't sticking your head up. And that's what these guys knew. Our guys knew that. They're not sticking their head up. That's why they kept firing and not letting up. And they fire. Walk right up to them, firing. If they emptied a magazine, they threw it out and put another one in, kept firing. Oh, jeez, we were in a firefight almost every freaking day. I mean, we moved out all over that area around. Well, we went up top 52. The next day we moved off it. And that was freaking smart because as soon as we moved off it, the NVA went back in. But then we walk all around that mountain and valley and whatever. We were in a firefight every freaking day. Guys are getting wounded, shot, killed. Get them on the chopper and get them out. It was hard sometimes trying to get a chopper in without getting that thing shot down. Yeah, Allen. I don't know if McCleary was with him or who was. Somebody was with him. And we walked up a hill. And there was like a plateau, level piece of ground there with a gully in there. And they went up that gully to another, like, halfway level place, but it's still up a hill. And Allen got shot there because he had like a funnel indentation in his back. I guess Cleary hollered back to us. When fire opened up, everybody froze where they were. He hollered back. He needed help. I guess it was McCleary. I don't remember. Anyway, he needed help to bring Allen back. He couldn't bring him back. Hacker said, listen, we need him. We got to get him. You can do it. I know you can do it, he said to me. So I did. I crawled out there. I was out, crawling out on all fours. I got to him. It was veins, I guess. And he gave me Allen out. He was laying down. And the only thing I could do was lock my elbows with him. And drag him out. I had to stay down because if I got up, I was getting shot. So I pulled the head with my one arm and I pulled the Allen up to my chest, and then went a couple more feet, did the same thing, and kept going. It was about, Christ, could have been 30 yards that I did this, that I kept going. And I got him back. I'm pulling Allen back. And, he was dead weight. Now, this freaking guy was a big Texan. I had a hard time pulling him back. And I said to him, "Can't you help me out here? Kick your feet or something." I said to him, he just like moaned. And so I said, "No, he can't help." So I put in my head that, and I kept on bringing him back. So we got him in a poncho, what do you call it, litter. It had two poles. We cut down some little trees, and four guys carried him down to the other side of the hill to put him in the helicopter. Well, I seen Allen later. We thought he'd never make it, but we did find out that he didn't make it, and that he could walk a little. It's new freaking guys, and oh man, and it was tough. I swear to God, they never had any training because it was tough trying to teach them everything. I'd have to go out and show them how to lay a claymore mine out. For Christ's sakes, yeah, it was a lot different. Kept getting new guys in. It was hard to keep them, train them. I wouldn't trust them. I mean, to back you up. When I had a couple weeks left, Lieutenant Ski, we called him, couldn't say his last name or something. So we called him Lieutenant Ski. But I start getting short. He had me come in. He had me come in on the next chopper. That it was important that I had to come in. He says, the weapons are all screwed up. He needed somebody he could trust or to get the job done, to get them straightened out, get them cleaned up. I only had a couple weeks left. And he says, "If you want, you can have the job." He says, "I could really use you." He says, "Well," he says, "all right." June of 69. Things start getting rough when I got out, though. I was drunk for 3 years. I was drunk. I didn't give a shit. People hated you for 30 years. Actually hated you. Getting arguments at bars or restaurants or something. And then you turn around, you find out the whole freaking restaurant's against you, or the bar. Everybody at the bar's against you. What the hell's the matter with these people?